Dear viewers of the Tom Photo channel, welcome back. Today I'm taking you to Portugal, a land of stunning coastlines, powerful waves, and endless photo opportunities. I brought my new Fuji XF 16 to 80mm lens along for the journey, and it turned out to be quite an adventure. I learned a lot about this lens beyond my previous review, ran into a few surprises, solved some problems, and even rediscovered the forgotten photography style. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I used the XF 16 to 80 to photograph the ocean, landscapes, and cities. You'll see my sample photos and videos, learn some technical details and tricks, and I'll also share my absolute favorite shots from the trip. So let's dive right in. Portugal is truly a land made for photographers. The cities, landscapes, and ocean are just breathtaking. Let's start with the ocean. Most of the video I shot on this trip was of the ocean using my Fuji X-T20. It's not the most capable video camera, but it worked just fine. I really enjoyed filming with the XF 16 to 80mm lens because of its excellent image stabilization. You can easily shoot handheld without a gimbal. I filmed using the standard film simulation HD and 30 frames per second, so nothing too fancy. The well-known issue of focus jumping when zooming in and out was of course there, so don't zoom with this lens while filming video. I mainly chose the XF 16 to 80 for shooting at the ocean because it's weather sealed, and that's essential when you're surrounded by salty mist all day. Another must-have is a protective filter. I can't stress this enough. Without it, your lens can easily be damaged. After just 10 minutes of shooting on the beach, the filter was covered with a fine layer of salt droplets, turning it into a powerful diffusion filter. I linked my diffusion filter video for you down below. The salt gradually softened the details of my photos, maybe even made them a bit more mysterious. I couldn't clean the filter right away before shooting some city streets at night, so I decided to use that salt creatively. The result? Some very mysterious night cityscapes. Look closely at the streetlights. They don't glow normally, do they? It looks like fog, but there was none in the streets, only around the lights. That's the effect I loved capturing. Any light becomes magical with a good layer of salt. This sunset photo has a dreamy look, especially in the grass, again thanks to the salt. The only way to clean the filter was to rinse it under warm running water, and that worked perfectly. The lens itself was fine, no damage so far. I only hope the salt fumes didn't creep into the lens or my Fuji X-T20, my good old travel companion. I love prime lenses, but not for vacation. For travel, I absolutely recommend a zoom, and this one has a fantastic range. It's even better than I expected. The 16mm end is very wide and perfect for both landscapes and city streets, while the 80mm end covers those distant scenes beautifully. I was really happy to have 80mm instead of just 55 like I usually do. That extra reach is a big advantage for someone like me who prefers telephoto over wide angle even for landscapes. Telephoto shots often feel more striking. I took a lot of photos. 1300 made the final cut. Here are the focal lengths I used on the trip. You'll see I mostly use the two extremes and rarely around 60mm. I find the 16 to 40mm range more useful than the longer ones, except for 80mm, which I used a lot. I absolutely loved using the 16 to 80 in Portugal, and it's going to be my main travel lens from now on. However, not everything was perfect. The constant minimum aperture of f4 was a little limiting when photographing cities at night. I did miss my bright prime lenses. f4 was sometimes a challenge. I often had to push the ISO to 3200 to get a proper exposure, which is as high as I ever go. That meant some shutter speeds were quite low. Here's the shutter speed distribution. The highest was 5800, a bright beach shot at f4. Zooming in on the chart, you'll see my favorite shutter speed in Portugal was 1/60. The slowest handheld shutter speed I used was 1/6 for a food shot in a dark restaurant. I used my elbows as a tripod for that one. Still, it shows just how incredible the optical image stabilization is on this lens. I always follow my 3 photo rule at night, which is take 3 identical shots and keep the sharpest one. I picked the best using my own special photo viewer, which I've linked for you down below. Check it out, I think you'll like it. It's custom made to choose the sharpest photos from among many. I'm not a huge fan of f4. Many photographers like this lens because it has a constant maximum aperture, which is great for video, but I'm a bit different. If I could change it to a variable aperture, say between 2.8 and 5.6, or even 2.8 and 6.4, I would. That would give me more light for museums and night streets, and I'd still stop down it in bright daylight anyway. Of course, f4 isn't ideal for bokeh unless you use the telephoto end and get close to your subject. Sometimes I couldn't get close enough, so the bokeh wasn't as strong. As you'll see in these examples, a slightly wider aperture would have made some photos even more striking. Speaking of aperture, here are the f-stop settings I used. You can see I favor certain values more than others. f4 is for darker scenes, f8 gives great depth of field in bright light, and f5.6 is my favorite middle ground, sharp and balanced. Exposure compensation is important for all photos, especially if you shoot JPEG only, like I did on this trip. I was adjusting it constantly. This chart shows how much of each setting I used. Usually my graphs are very symmetrical, but this time the right side stands out. It turns out I used plus 0.3 quite often, probably because I was shooting so many landscapes against bright fog. The ISO distribution tells a lot too. You can see how often I had to rely on ISO 3200 because of that f4 limit. You'll notice peaks at ISO 200, 400 and 800. That's because I kept switching between DR 100%, DR 200% and DR 400% to avoid shooting raw. These correspond to the lowest ISO values for each DR setting. At night, I used DR 400 to manage contrast, in hazy daylight, DR 100%, and my default was DR 200%. In very hazy situations, I used my high-definition photo trick, and I've talked about it in another video. Please see it linked below. Some say you need to stop down this lens for better corner sharpness at the telephoto end. Maybe so, corners can be a little bit soft maybe, but to me it's perfectly sharp. The modern Fuji lenses are all sharp enough, so this whole corner sharpness discussion should be put to rest. I'm a big believer in cropping. My horizons have to be 100% perfect. I carefully measure them. If they're off, I fix them. I also focus on strong compositions. Some say my photos are a bit painter-like, maybe too predictable, but creating pleasing visuals is a big part of photography for me. All this cropping resulted in photos of many different sizes, as you can see from the distribution. Even I was surprised how few photos escaped cropping. About 71% were cropped. My camera's 24 megapixel sensor produced a median photo size of around 21.5 megapixels after cropping. I always find something to fix. Landscapes are least likely to be cropped, but city shots almost always are. I tried to correct tilted building lines as much as possible. You can't always make them perfect, but sometimes you can. Check out my GIMP tutorial video linked below where I show the full process. You can watch my Portugal photos in 4K in a separate video linked below. Today though, I'll share my personal favorites and why they're special to me. This time I allowed myself more artistic freedom. I didn't worry too much about strict realism. One of my favorites is this ocean view. It was actually a terrible photo. Dirty lens, bad light, but I loved the waves so much I decided to rescue the photo. I was also happy with this photo. The couple was so joyful with the ocean view. And I'm usually bad at photographing people, but this one worked. It also worked for this woman who spent a lot of time posing, clearly appreciating the beauty around her. It's always great to see happy people on vacation. This is my favorite black and white photo. Black and white adds drama that color can't always achieve. If color gets confusing, just lose it. But not always. This one absolutely needs the subtle color it has. For me, this photo has the best light from the entire trip. The light changed fast and then it was gone. That's what makes it special. Maybe my favorite nighttime shot is this night train. Combined with the deep rumbling sound, it was a true multi-sensory experience. If I ever find time to paint, I'd choose this view of the small town of Óbidos. I'll show you the painting if I ever complete it. During my Portugal trip, I also rediscovered a forgotten photography style, one often used for creating cartoon-like effects, tilt-shift photography effect. It's actually an option in the advanced settings of my Fujifilm X-T20. Such a lovely toy world effect. The only thing I changed was reducing color saturation. I plan to talk more about this in a future video. And lastly, lemurs. Who doesn't love lemurs, especially when there are a bunch of them? You just can't go wrong with lemurs. They are amazing, and honestly, I might even trade my cat for one. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and please consider subscribing and liking. It really helps the channel. Check out all the links under the video, including the one about how I photographed France. See you again soon. Goodbye.